हरिः ओम् नमः सर्वेभ्यः। अष्टाध्यायी परिचयः इत्यस्य सुबन्तप्रकरणस्य अद्य द्वितीयः अभ्यासवर्गः। शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्। We have this list today. Actually, I sent a bigger list on the group, but I'm just selecting the 7 names today. After that, if time permits, we can continue with whosoever are ready. But for now, let's start with this list. We will start with the Rajan word and then move on with Vishwapa, Gopa, Haha, Dvikati, Sadhu, and Prasham. Hopefully, these should be complete today. Let's see. But before we start, I want to take initial 10 minutes in discussing something. This is regarding the Sutram Jasaha Shi. So there was actually a discussion in yesterday's class about Jasaha Shi, and it seems that some students are still a little bit confused. So I wanted to again quickly explain what we discussed about Jasahashi in yesterday's class. Those of you who have understood it, it will be a revision for you. Those of you who had doubts, this is a good time to ask your questions and get everything clarified. Now, before we go to this particular sutram, I want to go back to the Itsamnya Prakaranam and want to discuss something specific to Itsamnya Prakaranam because that would be crucial to what we are discussing right now. So, this is this Itsamnya Prakaranam starting from Upadeshya Janunasikaita up to Lashakvatadhite. In this Itsamnya Prakaranam, there are two types of sutras. The first type of sutra is a set of sutras where Itsamnya is given without any underlying constraint. So the only constraint that flows across all the sutras is Upadesha. The Itsamnya has to be given on an Upadesha. So that is given, that is default. But other than that, there is no constraint for giving Itsamnya. So Upadesha Ajanunasika says that any Anunasika Swara gets an Itsamnya as long as it is in Upadesha. Similarly, Halantyam says that any ending Hal letter, terminal Hal letter gets an Itsamnya as long as it is in Upadesha. These two sutras do not have any other extra constraint or condition. Starting from the next sutram, conditions get added. So, na vibhaktau tusmaha is only applicable in case of a vibhakti. Adiritudabaha, even though the sutra doesn't mention, for all practical purposes, it is applicable for a dhatu. And Shaf Pratyayasya Chutu Lashakvatadhite, these three sutras are applicable for a Pratyaya. So Shaf Pratyayasya, and that is taken as an Anuvritti. So except for the first two sutras, all other sutras have a constraint added on them. And therefore, unless that constraint is satisfied, the corresponding letter does not get an Itsamnya. With this in mind, let us now go back to this concept of Jasahashi. Before we actually take up Jasahashi, let's take another example. Say Ashtabhyaha Aush or Idamaha Ish. These two are the examples of Shita which I gave back in the class of Anekal Shit Sarvasya. So you take the pratyaya called Ausha, Adesha called Ausha, and you take the Adesha called Shi. What is the fundamental difference between Ausha and Shi? In Ausha, the Itsamnya of Shakara is by Halantyam. Halantyam belongs to the first category where no extra constraints are needed. Therefore, as soon as you say the Adesha is Ausha, it becomes a Shitta, and therefore by Shitva, it becomes a Sarvadesha. So, Anekal Shit Sarvasya, the Shitva component of that is required or is used in Ausha. On the other hand, when you convert Jasaha to Shi, during the conversion, Shi is not a Pratyaya. This particular sutram is in chapter number 7. The Pratyayadhikara is 3, 4, 5. 7 is not Pratyayadhikara. So Jasaha Shi, which is in 7.1, is not in the Pratyayadhikara. So during the conversion, Shi is not a Pratyaya. Therefore, that extra condition of being a pratyaya is not satisfied, and therefore she undergoes an sarvadesha because of anekaltva. There are two letters, sh and e. It is anekal. Therefore, it undergoes an sarvadesha. So, jasa as an entire thing is replaced by she using anekaltva. Once the replacement happens, sthanivat bhava kicks in. So step number 1 is replacement. Step number 2 is sthanivat bhava. Sthanivat bhava kicks in. Sthanivat bhava says that the pratyaya property on jasa has to be copied to she. That's the sthanivat bhava's action. Once that happens, now in step 3 we look at she, we say, well, shakara is its samyaka because now it is pratyaya. So that pratyayatva gives an fulfills the extra condition, so it becomes its samyaka, and therefore now shakara is removed by lashakva tadhite. So shakara is indeed its samyaka, but there is a fundamental difference between the its samya of shakara in ausha and its samya of shakara in she. Therefore, in ausha you can do shitva, but in she you have to do anekaltva. Is this clear? Are there any questions based on this? You can raise your hands if there are questions. Okay, there are no questions. So there is another thing I want to discuss. In yesterday's class, there was a discussion about Ashtadhyayi Sahaja Bodha books. Somebody said that in Ashtadhyayi Sahaja Bodha books, this particular conversion, jasaha, she, just getting converted to she, is quoted explicitly as shitvat sarvadeshaha, not anekaltvat sarvadeshaha. So the book explicitly says that she over here is a sarvadesha because of shitva and not because of anekaltva. Now I mentioned that I had never seen those books. Those are lying over there in the book rack. But after the class, I did take a look and that particular argument was correct. In the book, it is actually written that shitvat sarvadeshaha bhavati anekaltvat na bhavati. Now, why is it written like that? Is it a mistake? It is not a mistake. It is a different paksha in the Vyakarana Shastra that is being discussed over there. So I'm going to go slow and I'm going to explain this point. Whatever we have studied is 100% correct. That in case of she, shakara is going to become an its samyaka in step number 3. So we have step number 1, we have step number 2, and in step number 3, it is the shakara that becomes its samyaka. The transformation jasaha to she conversion happens on step number 1. So on step number 1, shakara is not ita, and therefore the transformation must happen by anekaltva only. This is the popular view. However, Nagesha, who is considered one of the greatest grammarians, Nagesha, in his one of the advanced books called Laghu Shabdendu Shekhara, we have the book over here, somewhere here. Look at this particular entry, Laghu Shabdendu Shekhara. So in his book Laghu Shabdendu Shekhara, he proposes or he puts forth a slightly different paksha. Listen carefully. What Nagesha says is that for any entities which become its samyaka at a later step in prakriya, like what is happening over here, that shakara is not becoming. Like what is happening over here, shakara is not becoming its samyaka in the first step, it is becoming its samyaka in the third step. So for such entities which are becoming its samyaka at a later stage in prakriya, it is acceptable to assume that it's samya all the way from beginning. Understand this. When the its samya is actually being allotted in a later stage, it is okay, acceptable to assume that it's samya from the beginning. So the exact statement that he uses is its samya yogyatvam anubandhatvam. So its samya yogyatvam means ability to become an its samyaka later on. That is sufficient to call it an its samyaka right from step number 1. A simple example, not given by Nagesha, I am giving this example to explain. A simple example is that a student who is in the first year of medical course, second year of medical course, we typically might refer to him as a doctor. He is actually not a doctor. He is would be doctor. He will get the degree after 4 years. But for all practical purposes, it is okay to call him a doctor, assuming he'll continue this education and so on. So as somebody is saying retrospective, so you basically assume that everything goes well, and even in the third step, it is actually going to become an Itsamnyaka Shakara, you assume in the beginning. Now, why Nagesha says that? There are reasons for it. Nagesha gives proofs from Mahabhashya, and he says this is a paksha, this is an argument that is put forth by the Bhashyakara, so we will study that, so we will accept that. In that particular paksha, when Jasa is getting converted to Shi, even though Shakara is not Itsamnyaka technically, Nagesha's Siddhanta allows us to treat Itsamnyaka. And when we treat it as Itsamnyaka, you can definitely convert, you can definitely consider it Shitta, and therefore you can do Sarvadesha by Shitva instead of Anekaltva. So this is the paksha that has been discussed in the book. I only read 1 or 2 pages over there, so I don't know whether anywhere else the main paksha that we studied has been discussed or not. But 1 or 2 pages that I saw over there, this particular paksha has been discussed. This is a paksha put forth by Nagesha very recently, 19th, 18th century. However, for generations together, Siddhanta Kaumudi, Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, even Kashika and so on, all of them have a very specific paksha, that is Anekaltvat Sarvadeshaha. That is the reason why Siddhanta Kaumudi, I showed the Siddhanta Kaumudi Vyakhya also yesterday, explicitly says Anekaltvat Sarvadeshaha. So what we will do in our course, we are not going to go to the Nagesha's paksha and assume that it is kept for advanced studies. It is only introduced in Laghu Shabdendu Shekhara for all practical purposes. For Kashika, Kaumudi, Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, the paksha that is acceptable and that we are going to continue assuming is Anekaltvat Sarvadeshaha. Any questions on this particular point? Vidyaji.
धन्यवादः महोदय। तत्र यदा पृच्छ्यते किल भवता पूर्वं इत्समय पाठनसमये तत्र किमपि गृहपाठम् अधीयत, तत्र किम् आसीत् नाम तत्र कति वर्णाः सन्ति इति दृष्ट्वा सर्वादेशः वा इति किमपि आसीत् तत्र। तत्र यत्र तस्य आदेशस्य विधिः भवति इति अज्ञात्वा तत् न कर्तुं शक्यते इति अधुना मया अवगतं। तत् सम्यक् वा? नाम अत्र तद्धिते भवति वा अतद्धिते भवति वा, तत्र कुत्र भवति तत्र आदेशस्य उपयोगः इति ज्ञात्वा एव वक्तव्यं। तत्र गृहपाठसमये तु मया किं कृतं नाम आदौ इत्सम्यकवर्णानां त्यजनं कृत्वा तत् सर्वं त्यक्त्वा एव तदनन्तरं वर्णगणनं कृतम् आसीत्। तत् असम्यक् वा इति प्रश्नः।
वर्गः स्मर्यते वा?
आम्, 27 इति मन्ये।
27 होम्वर्क्। कः प्रश्नः?
तत्र साक्षात् प्रश्नं न,
साक्षात् नास्ति। तत्र लशक्व तद्धिते इत्यस्मिन् एकस्मिन् एव सूत्रे तद्धितस्य ग्रहणं कृतमस्ति। अतः लशक्व तद्धिते इत्यस्य सूत्रस्य प्रयोगात् पूर्वम् अयं तद्धितप्रत्यय इति विचिन्त्य एव तत्र इत्संज्ञायाः निर्णयः करणीयः। परन्तु अन्येषु स्थलेषु तु प्रत्ययस्य चिन्तनं विना इत्संज्ञायाः निर्णयः कर्तुं शक्यते। इत्युक्ते प्रत्ययः अस्ति इति ज्ञात्वा कीदृशः प्रत्ययः अस्ति तस्य चिन्तनं विना अपि इत्संज्ञायाः निर्णयः कर्तुं शक्यते।
तदा तस्मिन् समये तत्र सर्वादेशः वा आद्यवयवः इति कथं जानीमः? तत्र कथं तत्र आदौ सम्यक् वर्णानां त्यजनं भवति वा न वा?
एकम् उदाहरणमस्ति अस्य, यथा
इति तत्र जसः शी,
जसः शी इत्यत्र जस् इत्यस्य शी इति आदेशः अस्ति। शी इत्यस्मिन् आदेशे कति वर्णाः? वर्णद्वयं। श इति एकः वर्णः, इ इति अपरः वर्णः। अत्र आदेशस्य समये शकारः इत्संज्ञकः नास्ति, इकारः इत्संज्ञकः नास्ति। अतः इत्संज्ञान् वर्णान् त्यक्त्वा कति वर्णाः अवशिष्टाः? वर्णद्वयम् अवशिष्टम्। अतः अनेकाल्त्वात् सर्वादेशः।
अस्तु
अस्तु
धन्यवादः।
हा, तदेव किम् इदानीं स्पष्टमस्ति। ओके, एनी फर्दर क्वेश्चन्स? इतोपि प्रश्नाः सन्ति चेत् वक्तुं शक्यन्ते, नो चेत् वील गो टू द राजन वर्ड। ओके, पूर्णिमा जी, प्लीज रेज योर हैंड once you're ready. I'll unmute you. We will have you for the rajan word. Rajan. Just one note, there is no need to discuss every minor step, no need to discuss the su, aujas, amauchas and all that, no need to discuss rutva visargam. Basically, finish your entire prakriya in say 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, okay?
अस्तु महोदय,
And if you
नमस्कारः।
skip, if you skip
No, no.
anything, and if you skip anything and I want you to tell that, I will tell that. Don't worry about it. I'll ask questions on that.
अस्तु महोदय। राजन् नकारान्त पुल्लिङ्गः राजन् शब्दः अत्र प्रथम एकवचनस्य सुप्रत्यय सु, अहं सूत्रं न लिखितवती, दीर्घमस्ति इति, किन्तु जानामि प्रथम एकवचनस्य सुप्रत्यय योजनानन्तरं राजन् प्लस् सु, तत्र सकार इत्संज्ञा लोपं भवति, तदनन्तरं राजन् प्लस् अत्र नकारान्तः शब्द अनन्तशब्दः अस्ति राजन् इति, सर्वनामस्थाने च सम्बुद्धौ इति सूत्रेण अत्र नकारस्य उपधा अकारस्य दीर्घः भवति, राजा इति, राजान् इति प्राप्ते तत्र अन्यत् सूत्रम् अस्ति, हल् डाम्भो दीर्घात् सुतिस्पृक्तं हल् इति, अपृक्तसकारस्य लोपः भवति, राजान् इति अवशिष्यते। तदनन्तरं राजान् इति अन्तिमनकारः न लोपः प्रातिपदिकान्तस्य इति, प्रातिपदिकसंज्ञकपदस्य अन्तिमनकारस्य लोपः भवति, राजा इति अवशिष्यते।
Correct. What is a typical question that comes up or came up in our class? The question was Rajan ityatra supratyasya lope krute nalop of prati. You only asked it, right? Or somebody else? Nalop of pratipadika tasya ityas prayoga katham. You only asked it, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So explain that now.
राजन् इत्यत्र सु प्रत्ययस्य योजनानन्तरं तत्र पदसंज्ञा प्राप्नोति, किन्तु राजन् इति प्रातिपदिकसंज्ञा तु अस्ति एव, अतः प्रातिपदिकसंज्ञस्य पदं भवति इति तस्य नकारस्य लोपः न लोप प्रातिपदिकान्तस्य इति सूत्रेण भवति।
Correct. So Rajan iti pratipadikam asti. Pratipadiке laghu parivartan kriyate. If you add another character over there, it will not get rid of the pratipadika samnya. So Rajan iti pratipadikam, Rajan iti api pratipadikam eva. Tatra ante sakaraha asit. तस्य सकारस्य लोप तस्य सकारस्य उपस्थितौ राजान इत्यस्य पदसंज्ञा नास्ति, राजान प्लस स इत्यस्य पदसंज्ञा अस्ति, परन्तु सकारस्य लोपे कृते राजान इत्यस्य पदसंज्ञा प्रत्ययलोपे प्रत्ययलक्षणम् इत्यनेन इदानीं राजान इति पदसंज्ञकमपि अस्ति, प्रातिपदिकसंज्ञकमपि अस्ति, नकारस्य लोपे कृते राजा इति अन्तिमं रूपं सिद्ध्यति। नेक्स्ट, सेकेंड वन इज नथिंग ओवर हियर, वर्णमेलनं, करेक्ट?
अस्तु महोदय, तत्र प्रथमाद्विवचनस्य तत्र प्रमुखं सूत्रमस्ति, सर्वनामस्थाने च सम्बुद्धौ, अनेन उपधा दीर्घः भवति, अतः राजानौ इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति।
करेक्ट करेक्ट करेक्ट। व्हाई इज नकारलोप नॉट हैपनिंग बाय अल्लोपो नः?
तत्र पदसंज्ञा नास्ति इति।
Which samnya nasti? Allopo naha requires which samnya?
Allopon.
Okay, we'll come to that. Okay, that's okay. I mean, I'm not putting you on the.
Bhasamnya nasti.
Bhasamnya nasti. Whenever there is a bhasamnya, nakaralopah, akaralopah bhavet. Parantu atra bhasamnya nasti, atah atra akaralopah na bhavati. Sarvanamastane chansambuddho iti upada dirghe krute rupam siddhyati. Akaralopasya vishay. Next, Rajan plus Jasa.
राजन् प्लस जस इत्संज्ञा लोपानन्तरं राजन् प्लस अस, अत्रापि उपधा दीर्घः भवति, राजान् प्लस अस, तत्र अन्तिमसकारस्य ऋत्वं भवति, ससजुषोः रुः इति सूत्रेण विसर्गौ ऋत्वं विसर्गौ, अतः राजानः इति रूपम्।
राजानः। ओके, राजानम्
राजानम् इति अत्रापि उपधा दीर्घः भवति राजान् प्लस् अम् तत्र केवलं वर्णमेनं राजानम् इति
सर्वनामस्थाने असम्बुद्धौ इति अनन्तस्य अङ्गस्य उपधादीर्घः भवति. Why is ami पूर्वः not working over here?
अकारान्तः नास्ति, अक्वर्णः नास्ति.
अक्वर्णः नास्ति. Very good. These are the answers I expect. अक्वर्णः नास्ति. Next, rajan plus out same. राजन् प्लस् शस्.
आम्, अत्र शस् तु सर्वनामस्थान संज्ञा नास्ति, अतः सर्वनामस्थाने च सम्बुद्धौ इति सूत्रं न प्रवर्तते. अल्लोपनः इति भसंज्ञा अस्ति इति उपधा अकारस्य लोपः भवति, राज न इति भवति. अन्ते अत्र सकारस्य रुत्वं विसर्गो भूत्वा राज न विसर्गः भवति. अत्र नकारः तवर्णः जकारः अग्रे अस्ति इति श्चुत्वं भूत्वा राज्ञः इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति.
अत्र नकारस्य श्चुत्वे कृते यकारादेशः ज प्लस य is exactly same as nya. There is no transformation happening. You cannot write j and nya together. They are like Lego pieces. As soon as they combine, they becomes nya. It's not any karya that is happening. It is just like the way ka plus sh is the same as ksha. In the same way, j plus nya is the same as nya. So radnyah iti rupam bhavati. Next. Now everything should be very easy. Next.
आम् महोदय, अत्र भसंज्ञा अस्ति इति तत्र उपधा अकारस्य लोपः भवति, अग्रे समानः एव केवल आकारस्य मेलनं राज्ञा इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति.
ओके, राजभ्याम्.
राजन् प्लस् भ्याम्, अत्र राजन् इत्यस्य पदसंज्ञा भवति, स्वादिष्व सर्वनामस्थाने इति असर्वनामसंज्ञकः भ्याम् प्रत्यये परे अत्र पदसंज्ञा, अतः राज प्लस् भ्याम् राजभ्याम् इति रूपम्.
Very good. Why not apply supicha over here and say rajabhyam? Anybody? I mean, I'm not basically asking you. I want everybody to participate. So let's see if anybody wants to answer this. Why not use supicha and use rajabhyam? Anybody? Nalopa, somebody is saying nalopa supsura samnyatuk vidishukruti. I don't know what is that. Can anybody explain me what is that? Nalopa supsura samnyatuk vidishukruti. Basically, what is happening over here? Why not Rajabhyam? It should be like Bala plus Bhyam becomes Balabhyam, right? So Raja plus Bhyam must become Rajabhyam. If anybody wants to say anything, you can raise your hand. Manjiri Bhagini.
Bala iti akaranta शब्दः अस्ति, अत्र राजन् इति नकारान्तः अस्ति.
नकारस्य लोपे कृते किं भवति? अकारान्त एव भवति किल? नकारलोपे कृते अकारान्तः एव अस्ति. राज प्लस भ्याम इज राजभ्याम. क्लियर? इट्स ओके. विद्याजी.
तत्र यण्यादौ सुपि इति अस्तु, परन्तु तत्र अङ्गस्य राज इति अकारान्तः न भवति किल महोदय?
राज इति अकारान्तम् अङ्गमस्ति किल? Instead of j, if you in yesterday's class, instead of j we had ma and we said ramabhyam. Why not rajabhyam? Raja is the anga. Raja plus bhyam should be rajabhyam. Sudhavalli ji. See how carefully you have to think. Sudhavalli ji.
नमस्कारः महोदय.
Namaste.
सर्वनामसादिशस्थाने राजन् भवति, नलोपप्रातिपदिकान्तस्य राज.
Raja bhavati. What next? Rajabhyam. Why not Rajabhyam? I am asking the same question again and again. Srinivas Mahoday.
तत्र सिद्धत्वात् भवति वा महोदय?
Basics. Don't come to the classes if you are not able to understand basics. Nalop of Pratipadikanta says 8 to 7. Rajabhyam Supicha is somewhere in 7.3. You do not go back to the Sapada Saptade when you are in Tripadi. So, very simple, by simple rules of Asiddhatva, you cannot go back to Tripadi. Specifically for the nakaranta words, there is a slight tweaking done on that asiddhatva. That's what somebody was saying, nalopa supsura samnyatuk vidhi shukruti. That's there in the commentary. Sorry, that's there in the chat over here. But we will keep that aside. Remember, I mentioned this sutra very briefly, that there are only very rare cases when you can go back to sapada saptadhyayi after doing nalopa pratipatikkantasya. One common example is ach sandhi. So if you say raja plus uvacha, you can actually combine rajovacha, even though that raja is created using the lope of pratipadikkantasya. So using the tripadi sutram, still you can do the ach sandhi of this using the sapada saptadhyayi sutram. These are some of the unique examples, or these are some of the remote cases where you can actually go back to sapada saptadhyayi. But general rule remains that in case of pratyas like supratyaya prakriya and so on, you have asiddhatva. You cannot go back to tripadi. Sorry, you cannot go back to sapada saptadhyayi. You have already entered tripadi. Clear? Or any questions? Next, Rajan plus Bhisa.
महोदय राजन् प्लस् भिस् अत्रापि
Same.
पदसंज्ञा
It's okay. Rajan plus Nye, same.
आम्
Rajan plus Bhyasa, same. There's nothing else,
Same.
right? Same. Okay. What else? Rajan plus Gasi?
आम् अत्र भसंज्ञा अस्ति अतः लोपनः इति सूत्रेण उपधा अकारस्य लोपः भवति
So same, basically.
सेम्
Same. Don't give me the prakriya if it is same. Only when there is a change, tell me. Rajan plus Ngasa?
सेम् सर
Same. Okay. Rajan plus Osa?
ओस अपि भसंज्ञकः अस्ति
Same. Okay. Rajan plus Am?
अत्रापि भसंज्ञा अस्ति यतः
Okay. So why not Rajanam?
उपधा दीर्घः न भवति अत्र
There is a sutram that gives you an upadha dirgha, right? What have you learned that sutram? No padhayaha. What does panchan plus am becomes? Anybody? Not necessarily you. Anybody? What does panchan plus am becomes?
पंचानाम
So Rajan plus am Rajanam. What's the problem?
तत् षट्संज्ञकः अस्ति इति
Very good. So panchan plus am, that particular no padhaya sutram is only applicable for shat samdika. This is exactly what I expect. No padhayaha. Hopefully that is the correct sutram. So shashti bhavachana se naam pratyay pare nakarantasya angasya dirgha bhavati. When is that nakarantasya angasya dirgha? It is when there is a nudagama. Nudagama yada bhavati tada naam iti pratyayah jayate. Tasya naam pratyasya dirgha bhavati. So when you are doing panchan plus ama, it is not this na and this a that is getting combined. It is am becoming naam. Because of that naam, padasamnya is being given that causes lopa of nakara, and then it causes a dirgha by nami giving panchanam. So no padhayaha iti sutrena नाम प्रत्यय परे उपधाया दीर्घावति और नामी. So षष्ठी बहुवचन से नाम प्रत्यय परे नकारांतस्य अंगस्य नकारांत शब्दस्य उपधायाः दीर्घा भवति. On the other hand, in this particular case of Rajan plus Am, you do not get a nudagama. Shat chaturbhyasya is the sutram that I should have shown also. So shat chaturbhyasya, shat chandakat parasya, chatur shabdat parasya am pratyasya nudagama bhavati. That nudagama is not seen in case of Rajan plus Am. So there is no question of Rajanam. It's simply Rajnyam. Next, Saptami Ekvachanam. Let's explain this prakriya.
राजन् प्लस् प्रत्यय सप्तमी एकवचनस्य प्रत्यययोजनानन्तरम् अत्रापि उपधा आकारस्य लोपः भवति किन्तु विकल्पे न भवति. सूत्रमस्ति विभाषा निश्योः इति. तत्र नि प्रत्यये परे उपधा अकारस्य विकल्पेन लोपः भवति. अतः द्वे रूपे राज्ञी इति राजनी इति उपधा अकारस्य लोपस्य अभावे.
Correct. What does this sutram say? Vibhasha nishyoho. What one is ni pratyaya. What is the other pratyaya for which this sutra is applicable?
शी प्रत्यय
What
महोदय
is the example of
तत्र
that?
आवन्तात् औ औट् प्रत्यये परे नपुंसकात् अपि औ औट् प्रत्यये परे शी आदेशः भवति तत्र शी यदि भवति चेत् अपि उपदा आकारस्य विकल्पेन लोपः
Lopaha bhavati. Give me one example. Any example? You gave the example of me as Rajani. What is the example of she? I'm talking to you because you are unmuted, but the question is applicable to everybody in the class. Everybody should be. Tell me.
नामन् इति नकारान्त नपुंसकलिङ्गशब्दः तत्र उपदा आकारस्य विकल्पेन लोपः भवति.
Correct. Namani or namani. Okay. And in general, when I'm asking questions, it is to the entire class. Feel free to raise your hand. I'll actually give more preference to those who are currently not telling the prakriya, so that this feels like a discussion and not just one-to-one dialogue. Go ahead. 7.3.
सम्बुद्धि क्षम्यतां सप्तमी बहुवचनस्य सुप्रत्यय पदे राजन् इत्यस्य पदसंज्ञा भवति अतः अत्र राज प्लस् सु इत्यस्य उपद नकारस्य लोपे कृते राजसु इत्येव भवति अत्र षत्वं तु न भवति.
किमर्थं न भवति?
अकारः अस्ति इण्कोः इति षत्वं भवति.
let's make it ekara by बहुवचने झल्येत.
बहुवचने झल्येत तु न भवति.
किमर्थं न भवति? अदन्तात् अङ्गास् बहुवचनस्य झलादि सुप्रत्यये परे अङ्गस्य एकारादेशः भवति. रामेषु राजेषु. Question is clear?
Question is clear, sir.
Okay. Anybody? बहुवचने झल्येत. Why not do राजेषु? Anybody? अलकनंदा जी.
पुनः असिद्धत्वात्.
Please don't forget what we learned 2 minutes ago. Puna asiddhatvad atra rajeshu. Somebody is typing it in bold, very angry. People are not remembering. So, asiddha. Okay. So, yes, asiddhatvad. Remember this. Rajabhyam, rajabhya, rajasu, sarvatra asiddhatvad. You cannot go back to sapada saptadhyay. Okay. Next. What is the next one? Sambodhanam. So, sambuddhi.
सम्बुद्धि सम्बुद्धि सुप्रत्यये परे अत्र सकारस्य तु लोपं सकारस्य लोपं भवति सूत्रेण हल् डैम् भू दीर्घात् सुप्रत्ययस्य लोपः भवति. अत्र अन्तिमनकारस्य न लोपप्रातिपदिकान्तस्य इति सूत्रेण लोपे प्राप्ते अपि ङि सम्बुद्ध्यो इति सूत्रेण सम्बुद्धि प्रत्यय परे नकारस्य लोपः न भवति.
न ङि सम्बुद्ध्यो, not you have to say न ङि सम्बुद्ध्यो, not just ङि सम्बुद्ध्यो. Okay, so न ङि सम्बुद्ध्यो इति नकारस्य लोपः निषिध्यते, therefore you get हे राजन्. Let's talk about this sutram. What are the two components of present in this sutram? Sambuddhi is the one that you told. What is the second component?
सप्तमी एकवचनस्य ङि प्रत्यय.
सप्तमी एकवचनस्य ङि प्रत्ययः. So सप्तमी एकवचनस्य ङि प्रत्यये nakara lope prapte nishidyate. So why did you do the nakara lopa in saptami? Why did you not apply this particular sutram in saptami ekvachanam over here? Clearly written, na saptami ekvachanasya pratyaya pare. So you should have employed that sutram back in saptami ekvachanam also. Anybody? The sutram clearly says nani sambuddhyoho. We directly jumped on sambuddhi. Why did we not apply it on सप्तमी एकवचनम ङि प्रत्यय? एनीबडी? अलकनंदा जी.
तत्र राज्ञी तथा राजनी रूपद्वयं भवति विभाषादिशो अनेन विभाषा प्राप्ते.
No, that is okay, but why did we not invoke this sutram? We should have said ङि सम्बुद्ध्योः, right? विभाषादिशो is all that is correct, but why didn't we even talk about ङि सम्बुद्ध्योः? मंजिरी जी. Did I unmute you?
अत्र नी प्रत्ययानन्तरं पदसंज्ञा प्राप्नोति. अनन्तरं प्रत्ययलोपे प्रत्ययलक्षणम् इत्यनेन तत्र न लोपप्रातिपदिकान्तस्य इत्यनेन नकारलोपः न भवेत् इति कृते
Parantu, so we should be invoking this particular sutram while doing the prakriya of Rajan plus Ni. Is that correct or it is not correct?
सर तत् पदं नास्ति खलु.
This is what I was expecting. न लोप प्रातिपदिकान्त्य अस्ति प्रातिपदिक संज्ञस्य पदस्य नकार लोपे प्राप्ते. Is there a pada called Rajan? In presence of ni pratyaya, can Rajan become pada? It will be a bha. If it is bha, there is no question of nagi sambuddhyo. Nagi sambuddhyo is nishedha, and nishedha is only based on the original vidhi. If original vidhi is possible, you can do nishedha. If original vidhi itself is not possible, what will you do with the nishedha? Right? So, in Rajan plus Ni, Rajan is not a pada, therefore you cannot apply this sutram. So now, why is Ni present in this sutram? Anytime you have nalopa pratipadikantasya, Rajan plus Ni, Shashin plus Ni, whatever, the Prakruti will never be pada. So, why ever the Ni part is given in this particular sutram?
सर यथा ज्ञातं कक्षायां भवान् उक्तवान् तत् वेद शब्दानां कृते अस्ति.
Very good. So, Vedeshu कुत्रचित् नि प्रत्ययस्य लोपे कृते अनन्तरं राजन इत्यस्य पदसंज्ञा संभवति. So in the Vaidika Vangmaya, in the Vaidika literature, there is a different set of sutram, supam, suluk, and so on. There is a separate sutram that acts. With that sutram, it is possible to get rid of the ni pratyaya. Once the ni pratyaya is removed, rajan becomes padasamnyaka by suptingantam padam, and at that point in time, it is possible to get rid of nakara because of nalopa pratipatikantase that is being blocked over here. Very good, correct. Is that all from your side? We finished Rajan word. Akarant. Okay, thank you very much. Dhanyavadaha. Akaranta pullingaha Vishwapa Shabdaha. Who is the Sudhavalli ji, right? Namaste.
नमस्कारः महोदय.
Namaste.
विश्वपा शब्द आकारान्त पुंलिङ्गः धात्वन्त विश्वपा शब्दः उत्पत्ति विश्वं पाति सह विश्वपा पा इत्युक्ते रक्षणे अर्थः विच् धातु कृत् विच् कृत् प्रत्ययः सर्वापहारि प्रत्ययः अन्ते धातु अस्ति पा इति धातु
पारक्षणे इति अत्र निर्दिष्टमस्ति अदादिगणस्य धातु अस्ति. So pahi mam is a very well known prayoga. Whatever pahi uttarat pahi dakshinat pahi and so on. So pahi means to protect. So that's the rakshana. Patu is also a very well known prayoga. So that's the pa dhatu, which is a sarvapahari krit pratyay. You explained it correctly. Dhatu remains at the end, therefore dhatvantaha. Next line.
अन्ते दीर्घस्वराः पा किन्तु आबन्तः नास्ति. सो अत्र हल्गाभ्यो तत्र हल्गाभ्यो दीर्घात् सुतिस्य उक्तं हल् प्रयोगः नास्ति.
Very good, very good.
Vishwapa.
So, let me intercept that 1 second. So halyabhyo dirgha sutisya pruktam hala talks about halanta, dirgha and dirghanta and abanta. Sorry, dirghanta and nyanta. Sorry, abanta and nyanta, which are dirghanta. Sorry, let's go. Halyabhyo dirghat sutisya pruktam hala. This particular sutram, dirgha is qualified by nyanta and abanta. So Vishwapa is a dirgha word, as she explained very carefully, but it is neither nyanta nor abanta. Therefore, the su pratyay is not going to be removed. So this is a very crucial note that this is a dirgha swara, parantu abantaha nasti. There is no question of nyanta because it is akaranta word. Therefore, atra su pratyay se lopaha na bhavati. Very good. Go ahead.
Vishwapa shabdaha bhashita pumskah sabdha. Pumskah. अत्र पुंलिङ्गः अस्ति नपुंसकलिङ्गे अपि अस्ति. विश्वपा शब्दः in this I want to tell first of all I want to teach what is bha yachibham sutrena, that is 18 असर्वनामस्थाने संज्ञके यकारादौ अजादौ वा स्वादिप्रत्यये परे प्रकृतः भासंज्ञा भवति। अत्र भासंज्ञा सर्वनामस्थानं नास्ति, पदसंज्ञा नास्ति, बाधित्वा भासंज्ञा आगच्छति।
No, wait. Let me stop you over there. Where is bhasamnya coming? Is it coming for Vishwapa plus Su? Is a bhasamnya coming for Vishwapa plus Su?
No. Vishwapaha, Vishwapa, Vishwape, Vishwapaha, Vishwapi. All abantata.
So wait. You're jumping. So see, understand this. Bhasamnya is not there till we reach 2.3. Shas pratyaya. Right? You're getting what I'm saying? Because what is happening is that initial few pratyas are sarvanama sthana. So your discussion of bhasamnya is, or it should technically be done when you go to 2.3.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So let's do Vishwapa plus Su, au, jas, out, and then we talk about bhasamnya.
Vishwapa, Su, au, jas, and out. All these are sarvanamasthana. So Vishwapa plus Su, sashajushoru, upadeshe anunasikayit tasya lopaha. So itsanya jayate. Tadanantaram sashajushoru ऋत्वं तथा विसर्गः अस्ति चेत् विश्वपा अन्तिमरूपं सिद्ध्यति।
करेक्ट। विश्वपाः विसर्गः अस्ति, विसर्गः भवति ऋतु, विश्वपाः इति अन्तिमं रूपं सिद्ध्यति। सम्बुद्धि तेम प्रत्यय, there is nothing else. Okay. Out. Yes, au and out.
Out. अत्र प्रथमयोः पूर्वशवनः,
वेरी गुड,
प्रथमयोः पूर्वशवनः बाधित्वा जसि च निषिध्यते। सो निषिध्यते, अतः प्रथमयोः पूर्वसवर्णः सूत्रं अत्र नास्ति, प्रयोगः नास्ति।
इति न, दीर्घात् जसि च, जसि च इस् डिफरेंट।
दीर्घात् जसि च निषिध्यते। अत्र औ इच् वर्णः, दीर्घः पा इति दीर्घः वर्णः अत्र अस्ति चेत् प्रथमयोः पूर्वसवर्ण निषिध्यते, जसि च से निषिध्यते।
Don't say jasi cha, the sutra is dirgha jasi cha.
Dirgha
jasi cha is a different sutram. So
dirgha jasi cha.
Dirgha jasi cha.
वृद्धि रेचि अत्र सूत्रेण विश्वपौ आकारः औकारः मिलित्वा औकारः वृद्धि एकादेशः विश्वपौ अन्तिमरूपं सिद्ध्यति।
Okay, I have a couple of questions over here, not necessarily to you, to the entire class. First of all, we are applying dirgha jasi cha sutram over here, but there is no jas pratyaya in the picture. We are talking about au pratyaya. Why are we applying dirgha jasi cha? Is my question.
Pa is a dirgha.
So dirghat is understandable. But where is jas pratyaya here? There is no jas pratyaya. If you apply dirgha jasi cha for the next number 4, it is understandable. Why are you applying dirgha jasi cha for Vishwapa plus au? There is no jas pratyaya, Purnima ji.
महोदय दीर्घात् अपि न भवति इति।
अरे dirghat is there na, dirgha jasi cha. So dirgha means every dirgha word will you use. If a sutra lists multiple conditions, you have to make sure that all these satisfy, right? Unless there is an or in that. There is no or over here. This sutra is saying dirghat jas pratyaye pare prathamayoh purvasavarna ittenena praptasya purvasavarna dirghasya nishedha bhavati. So why is dirghat jasi cha being applied over here?
दीर्घात्
रत्
अपि भवति जस् प्रत्यये परे अपि भवति
That is
इति
not the meaning of the sutram. Dirghat api
न
bhavati jasi pratyaya pare api bhavati. Every dirgha word will start ending up with this particular, right? It is dirghat jas pratyaya pare only. But dirghat bhavati sarvatra dirghat bhavati va. You understand what I'm saying? Both. There are two conditions. One is dirghat, other is jasi. Both should be satisfied, right? If you just say dirghat bhavati, all dirghas will start getting everywhere outside jasi also. Ratnakar Mahoday.
Ijadau cha just pratyaya pare.
So that chakara, it takes the anuvritti of nadichi, ichi, ityasa anuvritti asti. Revision, without revision, you cannot go ahead. So these are like so simple questions. Dirghaj jasicha. If you go to dirghaj jasicha, it clearly brings an anuvritti of ichi from nadichi, which means that dirghat jasi pratyaye pare इचि इत्युक्ते इजादौ प्रत्यये परे. सो इच्छ इति वर्णः अस्ति. Now out pratyaya or au pratyaya is ich pratyaharasya letter, and therefore this particular sutram is applicable over here. Ratnakar Mode, you want to say something?
Yeah. Just one sentence. The thing is,
good.
in the sentence, in the sutra, dirgha jasicha, there the cha itself should indicate us there is something else before.
Exactly. So, that's exactly the thing. So, otherwise the sutra would have just been dirghat jasi. Somebody's added a comment over here, cha. So, the cha itself tells that something has to be brought in from the previous sutram, and that is ichi.
Thanks so much.
Okay. Now, next question over here. Why not apply nadichi? Can you apply nadichi? And should you apply nadichi? Two different questions. Can you apply nadichi and should you apply nadichi? Same people are raising hands. Sudhavali ji, 1 minute. Let me give a chance to others also. Same set of people are raising hands. I want new hands, and because this class is for everybody, not for 5 people. Alak Nanda ji.
आत् इति पंचमी विभक्ति अस्ति, अतः अकारान्तात् नादीची सूत्रस्य प्रसक्तिः.
अकारान्तात् नास्ति. आत् इत्युक्ते अवर्णात् अस्ति.
अवर्ण
means akara and akara. Clear? Avarna means akara and akara. So, do you have akara in Vishwapa? Yes. Do you have each letter in au? Yes. So, for Vishwapa plus au, can you do nadichi ittenena nishedhaha? Srinivas Mahoday.
तत्र आकारः अस्ति, अतः दीर्घाज्यसि एव तस्य प्रयोगः भवति, न तु नादीचि.
न सो प्रश्नद्वयम् अस्ति. प्रथमं तु नादीचि इत्यस्य प्रयोगः सम्भवति वा उत नैव सम्भवति?
सम्भवति, परन्तु
कथं न भवति? किमर्थं न भवति?
यतोहि आकारस्य कृते दीर्घाज्यसि परत्वात् वा न.
Wait. Dirghajasi sutram can be used for ikara also, ukara also. There are so many dirgha letters, right? So ikara, ukara, they are dirgha. So for them you use dirghajasi cha.
परन्तु आकारः अस्ति, अतः
so आकारः अस्ति. नादीचि इत्यत्र नात, आत is a plus a. So that akara can be used in nadichi also. That akara can be used in dirghajasi also. So why use dirghajasi?
Paratvat.
Vipratishedha. There is a vipratishedha between the two nishedha sutras. Nadichi, the independent domain of nadichi is Rama. The independent domain for dirghajasi is other dirgha letters like e, u and so on. For Vishwapa there is an overlap. Paratvat dirghajasi ityeva prayoga karaniyaha. Let us see what Kaumudikara says. If my memory is not cheating me, he will say something like this. Yadyapi iha aungi nadichi ityeva siddham jasitu satyapi purva savarna dirghe kshatirnasti tathapi gauryau gaurya ityadhartham isutram iha api nyayadvadupanyastham. If this is Greek and Latin, it basically means that in this particular case of Vishwapa plus au, even if you apply nadichi yadyapi iha aungi ityukte aung pratyepare au iti pratyepare nadichi ityeva siddham. Nadichi is sufficient, and still you can have to apply जसि इहापि न्याय्यत्वात् तस्य उपस्थितिः अस्ति अतः तस्यैव प्रयोगः करणीयः किमर्थमिति चेत् तत् अग्रे आवश्यकं दीर्घात् जसि च सूत्रम् is technically required for दीर्घ इकारान्त words like gauri and so on, but that particular sutram can be applied over here, so you have to use over here. That न्याय्यत्वात् may be explained by Balamanoramakara. So Vishwapa ityatra, see, look at this, Vishwapau ityatra नादीचि इत्यस्य दीर्घाद्यसि च इत्यस्य च प्राप्तौ परत्वेन दीर्घाद्यसि च इत्यस्य एव उपन्यासः औचित्यात् इत्यर्थः. So you have to apply the दीर्घाद्यसि च by paratva. Okay, next Vishwapa, Vishwapau. I had another question over here. I'll take liberty to ask. I know I'm taking too much time. What would happen if, it's a very simple question, what would happen if the pratyaya was O instead of Au? Su ojas. What would happen if the pratyaya was O? Anybody? Give me a counter example where an O pratyaya will not work. Because in Vishwapa plus O it is going to work. Vishwapa plus O will become Vishwapau. Alaknanda ji.
Sorry. अतो गुणे अनेन विश्वप इति भवेत् वा? अतो गुणे. अतो गुणे.
अकारस्य एव गुणे. अतो is ह्रस्वाकार. Vishwapa is दीर्घाकार. Okay. But your answer is correct. Almost there. One small bit missing.
विश्वपः भवति खलु?
Wait. Vishwapaha means what? No, I am speaking about Vishwapa plus Au. If instead of Au the pratyaya was O, what would be the problem? Not in this prakriya. In general, in Vyakarana Shastra, what would be the problem? Here it will not be a problem. Here it will be Vishwapau. That's okay. In Vyakarana Shastra, what will be a problem? O is also Icha. Somebody is saying not Icha. I don't know whether it is for this particular discussion. But O is also Icha. Ich pratyahar is E and onwards. So only A and A are not included. Is the question clear to everyone? Vidya ji.
आ प्लस् ओ इत्यत्र औ इति तथापि वृद्धिः एव भवति, परन्तु अन्यत्र यदस्ति तत्र मरुत् इत्यत्र.
That's what I'm asking. Exactly. Anyatra doshaः भवन्ति. कुत्र दोषाः भवन्ति इति प्रश्नः आसीत्. Millions of places तत्र दोषाः भवन्ति. मरुत् इत्यस्य मरुतौ. राजन् इत्यस्य राजानौ. That would become राजानो. Maruto. Not just that, what earlier somebody said, Rama plus Au ityasya sthane Rama plus O iti vadamaschedapi doshaha ato gune ityanena Ramo iti rupam bhavet. So somebody was mentioning ato gune right now. The example you should have given is Rama plus O. Vishwapa plus O will become Vishwapau. But Rama plus O doesn't become Ramo. It becomes Ramo because of ato gune. That's the problem. Everywhere there will be a problem. Only rare cases like Vishwapa plus O, there is no problem. Okay, let's go ahead. Any questions? If not, Vishwapa plus Jassa.
Jas pratyaye pare as asti. Vishwapa plus asti. As dhatu. Sutu iti ittannah. Chacha jajana. Ja अत्र इत्संज्ञा अत्र विश्वपास् ऋत्वं विसर्ग.
Before that, that is okay. All that you can eliminate. Point is prathamayo purvasavarna iti prapte dirghajasi chiti. That is the crux.
Dirghajasi cha atra nishtityate.
Now there is jasi. This is the place where jasi is being used. So dirghat jasicha. And then akas savarne dirgha will cause the savarna dirgha. Okay.
Atra halantyam antima sakarasya itsangna bhavati na vibhakto tusmaha iti sutrena halantyam nishidyate.
Sa nishidyate. Halantyam nahi itsamnya nishidyate. That's okay. Halantyam nishidyate. Rutva visarge vishwapaha iti bhavati. Next, Vishwava plus ama.
आमि पूर्व आम
Next, that's all.
प्रत्यय
That's all. One line answer. Ami Purva is correct. Next, Vishwapa plus Shasa. Remember, Ami Purvaha will take precedence over Prathameva Purva Savarna. So you don't have to worry about Am Pratyay is very easy. You just blindly say Ami Purva when there is an Akka letter before that and you move on. Vishwapa plus Shasa. Now your Bhasamya comes in the picture.
भासम्या यचिभं सूत्रेण सर्वनामस्थानः संज्ञकं यकारादौ अजादौ वा स्वादिप्रत्यये परे प्रकृतेः भासंज्ञा भवति। अत्र प्रत्ययः सर्वनामस्थान संज्ञकः नास्ति, तथा पदसंज्ञा नास्ति।
प्रत्ययः अजादि अस्ति, अजादि प्रत्ययः, that is important. अजादि प्रत्यये परे विश्वपा इत्यस्य भसंज्ञा भवति। अग्रे
भासंज्ञा, अत्र भासंज्ञा अस्ति।
It's written on the screen. You just see. Therefore, ato dhatoho iti sutrena
ato dhatoho विश्वपा विश्वप अस् धातु भासंज्ञकः, विश्वपा भासंज्ञकः, प्रकृतिः भासंज्ञकः अस्ति चेत् विश्वप प्लस अस् अस्ति, विश्वपस् ऋत्वं तथा।
That's okay. Rutva visarge Vishwapaha. You don't have to speak Rutva visarga. So the point to understand is Vishwapa, in the initial part of this discussion, we mentioned an important point that Vishwapa is Akaranta Dhatu. So Pa is Akaranta Dhatu. Both these things are captured over here. Ato Dhatoho Akarantam Dhatu Samnyakam Yadbha Samnyakam Tasya Akarasya Lopa Bhavati. Therefore, Vishwapa, this Akara is going to be removed. You just get Pa, because Pa is both Akaranta and Dhatu. Okay, next. Vishwapaha is done. Next. And now we are going to skip. Vishwapa plus Ta, exactly same. Vishwapa plus Bhyam.
Akaranta.
Vishwapa plus Bhyam.
Bhyam, atra Bhyam, Bis, Bhyas, सुप इत्यादि पदसंज्ञा।
Very good. Padasanya bhavati. Therefore, ato dhato is not applicable. Correct?
Yeah.
And just is Vishwapabhihi, Vishwapabhya. Simple Varna Melanam bhavati. Let's go to Shashti Bahuvachanam. Vishwapa plus Am. Where have you written this? Vishwapa plus Am. Explain this.
Vishwapa plus Am. Atra Vishwapa अतो धातु भस्य अकारस्य लोपः, आकारस्य लोपः, वर्णमेलनं कृत्वा विश्वपाम्।
Why not Vishwapanam? Why not Vishwapanam? What blocks Nudagama?
Nudagama नास्ति चेत्
किमर्थं न भवति Nudagamah? Very good. You're speaking it correctly. Raswantam nasti, abantam nasti. Rasva nadyapo nutta. Raswantam nasti, nadyamta nasti, abantam nasti. Correct? So we specifically talk abantam because akarantam asti. Atah abantam nasti, raswantam nasti, atah nudagama na bhavati. Simple varna melanam Vishwapam iti bhavati. And finally, Vishwapa plus Gi, same ato dhato ho, no change in the prakriya. Vishwapi, Vishwapa plus Supa, simple varna melanam. Padasanya, Vishwapasu. Why not Vishwapashu?
Atra आदेश प्रत्ययः इत्यनेन शु न भवति।
किमर्थं न भवति? Why not Vishwapashu?
आदेश प्रत्यय.
Anybody? I'm not targeting a single person. Anybody wants to speak, please raise hand. Sriranga ji.
Inko.
Inko. People are also writing it in the chat. इणकोः. So इण वर्णात् परस्य एव प्रत्ययसकारस्य षत्वं भवति. इणकोः is the correct answer. Thank you very much. Before we move to the next one, I have one question. Anybody can answer this. Ato dhatoho is the sutram that is applicable to the bhasamyaka anga, and it gets rid of akara. So instead of vishwapa plus, let's take an example of ta, which is ajadi pratyaya. So this is an ajadi pratyaya, and because of this ajadi pratyaya, vishwapa akara is removed, it becomes vishwapa, and simple varna milanam happens. Ato dhatoho sutram is given for a bhasamyaka. What will happen if I remove that constraint of bhasamya and instead say ato dhatoho should be applicable for ajadi pratyaye pare? Whenever there is an ajadi pratyaya in front, I will apply ato dhatoho. If I make a sutram like this, I get rid of the bhasamya constraint. And if I say ajadi pratyaye pare ato dhatoho iti akara lopaha bhavati, tarhi kaha doshaha jayet. I will give you 1 minute. Everybody, I want you to think about this. I just don't want same set of people to raise hands. If the question is not clear, please raise your hand so that I can explain the question. The original question was that ato dhatoho is applicable for bhasamyaka anga. Instead of bhasamya, I say ajadi pratyaye pare akara lopaha bhavati. Sudhavalli ji.
Mahodaya, pratyay pare, if it is not bhasamyaka, sarvanama out atra akarah nasti.
So what will happen pratyay pare? You're right, but what will happen?
Vishwapa plus out.
You're saying pratyay pare, right? Out. Where is out coming in the picture?
Sorry. Out. Tatra vishwapa plus out.
What is the final form? Vishwapla plus au will become what? Okay, we'll give chance to Vidya ji. Vidya ji.
भगिनी उक्तवती एव प्रत्यये गोपम् इति सिद्ध्येत तथा एव जसीट अन्यत्र च.
Correct. So pratyay pare you have vishwapa plus vishwapa plus a will get rid. You'll get rid of akara. Vishwapa plus it will form vishwapam, which is a wrong form. We want vishwapam. And similarly for 1.3 just pratyay also, the form will be incorrect. It will be vishwapaha, whereas we want vishwapaha. So only 2 forms are problematic, but for those 2 forms, Maharishi has put this in the bhadikara. So that completes Vishwapa. Vidya ji, you are already unmute, I believe. Gopa and Dvi. Gopa and Dvi.
अत्र गोपा इत्यत्र यद्यपि तत्र आकारः अन्ते विद्यते तथापि तत्र विश्वपा इत्येव भाषितपुंस्कः धातन्तः गोपा अस्ति. तत्र आबन्तः इति नास्ति. स्त्रीलिङ्गे अस्ति चेदपि तत्र विश्वपा इव एव रूपाणि सिद्ध्यन्ति.
सर्वाणि रूपाणि विश्वपा सदृशानि एव सिद्ध्यन्ति. So we don't need to discuss anything about Gopa. All forms of Gopa are identical to Vishwapa. Vishwapa is also Bhashita Pumska. Gopa is also Bhashita Pumska. I have given Gopa in Strilinga because Siddhanta Kaumudi gives it, and Vishwapa in Pullinga because Siddhanta Kaumudi gives it. But otherwise, in all 3 lingas, you can use that word. Next one.
तत्र मम नाम तत्र द्विस्त्रीलिङ्गे इति दोषेण प्रेषितवती. तत्र नपुंसकलिङ्गे अस्ति मम.
नपुंसकलिङ्गे अस्ति ओके ओके हा start. I don't think do I have your PDF or no?
आम् महोदय
Okay, let me check.
नास्ति चेत् चिन्ता मास्तु
तत्र give me 1 minute. Let me just quickly check if I have. Give me 1 second.
तत्र आदौ ज्ञातव्यं यत् द्वि इति इत्यस्य तत्र
just give me 1 minute. Okay? Is this your PDF? This is one, right? Okay.
द्वि इति शब्देन तत्र त्यदादिगणे यदस्ति तत्र त्यदादीनाम् अह इति उक्तमस्ति तत्र अह इति अलोन्त्यस्य इत्यनेन तस्य अन्त्यादेशः भवति इति ज्ञातव्यम् आदौ तदनन्तरं
इति त्यदादीनाम्
इत्यस्य अन्त्यादेशः इति ज्ञातव्यम् तदनन्तरम् अयं नित्यद्विवचनान्तः अस्ति तस्मात् औ औट् भ्याम् ओस् इत्येव प्रत्ययाः विद्यन्ते तत्र औट् इत्यत्र नपुंसकाच्च इति मुख्यं सूत्रमस्ति आदौ त्यदादीनामः इति स्वीकुर्मः तदनन्तरं द्व प्लस् औ इति भवति तत्र द्वि प्लस् क्षम्यतां तत्र दोषः कृतः मया द्व प्लस् षि इति लिखितम् आसीत् द्व प्लस् षि इत्यत्र नपुंसकाच्च इत्यनेन षि इति तत्र तस्य मूलसूत्रमस्ति तदनन्तरं लशक्वतद्धिते इत्यनेन शकारस्य लोपः कृतः
संज्ञा लोप इस् तस्य लोपः
संज्ञा दीयते तदनन्तरं तस्य लोपः अपि क्रियते तस्य लोपः इत्यनेन तदनन्तरं द्व प्लस् इ इति अवशिष्यते तदनन्तरं प्रथमयोः पूर्वसवर्णः इत्यनेन तत्र तस्य प्राप्तिः अस्ति परन्तु नादिचि इत्यनेन तत्र न प्रवर्तते आद्गुणः इत्यनेन गुणः एव प्रवर्तते
द्वे इति भवति क्विक रिविजन नपुंसकाच्च इति औङ्घः षि इत्युक्ते औ प्रत्ययस्य षि आदेशः भवति षित्वात् सर्वादेशः अनिकाल्त्वात् सर्वादेशः
अधुना एव तस्य विषयः जातः तत्र षि इत्यनेन
अनिकाल्त्वात् सर्वादेशः. There is no need of talking about sarvadesha over here, to be honest, because au is a single letter. So what is antyadesha versus sarvadesha? For a single letter, there is no question of discussion of sarvadesha versus antyadesha. You understand? The discussion of jasa to she actually was valuable in the context of sarvadesha versus antyadesha because jasa has two letters, a and sa. So sarvadesha means entire thing will be replaced, antyadesha means sakar will be replaced. So two different forms. Whereas for au converting to she, au is a single letter. So single letter, antyadesha also same letter, sarvadesha also same letter. You get what I am saying?
तत्र औङ् इति अस्ति औट् इत्यस्य अपि भवेत्
तत्रापि टकारः इति संज्ञकः अतः तत्रापि औ इत्येव अवशिष्यते.
आमाम्.
अतः एकवर्णात्मकः प्रत्ययः अतः तत्र सर्वादेशस्य अन्त्यादेशस्य चिन्तनं न आवश्यकम्. बहुवर्णात्मकः अनेकवर्णात्मकः प्रत्ययः अस्ति चेत् तादृशं चिन्तनम् आवश्यकम्. Okay. Next question. Why is, not necessary to you, to everybody, why is this she required dirgha? What would happen if the adesha is given rasva she instead of dirgha she?
द्विप्रकारक विषय भवेत् महोदय तत्र शी इति पुनः तत्र जशशोश्चिः इति तत्र भेदः दृश्येत.
किमर्थं भेदः आवश्यकः? He could combine all the sutras saying jasa, shasa, au, out, she.
तत्र सर्वत्र न भवति किल महोदय, तत्र जस् चष इति तत्र सर्वनामस्थानमस्ति, औ टौ इत्यत्र न सन्ति, तत्र कुत्रचित् भवति कुत्रचित् न भवति, तस्मात् तत् प्रदर्शितः इति मन्ये अहं। तदनन्तरं तत्र इ इत्यनेन अत्र तु शीत्वं भवति, तत्र ईकारः अस्ति चेदपि इकारः अस्ति चेदपि तत्र दोषः नास्ति, गुणः एव भवति, अन्यत्र कुत्रचित् भवेत् वा?
Okay, so that's what I wanted to ask, that is she raswadesha possible? What would be the problem if the she becomes dirgha? That was the main question, which is not answered. I understand what all that I mentioned is confusion bhavati and so on, but is there a grammatical problem if the adesha is given as raswa shi instead of dirgha shi? Anybody? Reshma ji.
Namaste, Mohoday. There are certain forms of Dvivachanam which are Vastu, Vastuni, Vastuni. So
Vasu,
that
vasuni
Dirgha has
Vasu, Vasuni, Vasuni.
Sorry. So,
No, you understood the mistake you did and what I corrected?
yeah.
Or
So
nama, namani, namani. So that
so
dirgha ikara cannot be generated. Very good, very good. That dirgha ikara
exactly.
cannot be generated with she. So vari,
Yeah.
varini, varini. So that dirgha ikara needs a she. See, brilliance. Small, small letters we just randomly write. Rasva dirgha mistakes we do. Imagine what would have happened if Panini would have made rasva dirgha mistakes like this. So we discussed this the other day, right? So anyway, so she dirgha is specifically for these examples like vasuni or varini or namani, namani and so on. And that is the exact reason why the next pratyaya is given as rasva shi, because that becomes rasva. Phalani, namani, varini, that's all rasva. So she over there is rasva. And then a secondary reason, it is not a very clear or actual reason, is that she is called sarvanama sthana in the napumsaka. So in the napumsaka, if this she gets represented as rasva she, which is the sarvanama sthana, that might be a problem. But that is not a real reason, because Panini would have used a different anubandha instead of she, and then he could have solved that problem of calling, or he could have said just shasoho sarvanama sthanatvam asti. So he could have solved that problem separately. But the main problem why you have to do a dirghadesha and not rasva is because of the forms like varini and so on. Okay, what did we finish? Okay, dve is done. So phalam phale, that's okay. So bhyam. Vidyaji, bhyam.
तत्र अन्यथा किमपि नास्ति, सुपि च इत्येव यण्यादौ
त्यदादीनामः. त्यदादीनाम is more important.
त्यदादीनाम सर्वत्र त्यदादीनामः.
त्यदादीनामः इत्यनेन द्व प्लस भ्याम सुपि च इति द्वाभ्याम. द्वयोः
तत्रापि त्यदादीनामः ओसि च इत्यनेन.
Once it's त्यदादीनाम is like Rama. Rama what? This is exactly okay, that's all done. Okay, now one point about dvi is that dvi word is nitya dvivachananta, but it is only nitya dvivachananta when it means the number 2. If there is a person whose name is dvihi, then that is not dvivachananta. It will be a normal word. It's not even a sarvanama. It will be normal word running like muni. Not just that, if the word dvi comes in the samasa, for example, priyadvi, priyau dvau yasya saha, somebody who has two beloved, priyau dvau yasya saha, or priye dve yasya saha. That priya and dvi can be in any gender. The final word is in the pullinga. So priye dve yasya saha, or somebody is saying lucky. Okay, so priye dve yasya saha or priyau dvau yasya saha, it will still become priyadvi, but that is not representing the 2 number. Therefore, that priyadvi runs in all the 3 vachanas, priyadvihi, priyadvi, priyadvayaha, like munihi, muni, munayaha, and so on. Okay, so that takes care of the dvi word. What next? Priyaji, if you are available, please raise your hand.
महोदय, तत्र प्रश्नः अस्ति प्रियद्वी तत्र बहुव्रीहि नो चेत् तत्र तत्पुरुषः अस्ति चेत् तु द्विवचनमेव.
तत्पुरुषः अस्ति चेत् प्रियौ द्वौ इति वदामश्चेत् प्रियद्वि इति प्रतिपदिकं, तत्र तु प्रियद्वौ इत्येव भवति. करेक्ट्. हाँ प्रिया जी हा हा
नमस्ते महोदय।
It's very simple word, just go through the sandhis, you don't have to talk about anything else.
अस्तु अत्र सु अपि च सम्बुद्धिः अत्र इत्संज्ञालोपः तदनन्तरं सकारस्य ऋत्वविसर्गादेशो भूत्वा हा 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 इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति। औ औट् इत्यत्र अपि औ इत्यस्य प्रथमयोः पूर्वसवर्णः इति सूत्रेण पूर्वसवर्णदीर्घः भवितव्यं, परन्तु दीर्घाजसि
पूर्वसवर्ण दीर्घेण भवितव्यं. दीर्घेण
दीर्घ
भवितव्यं. Bhavitavyam always has a tritiya associated with it. Purvasavarna,
हाँ
that's a different discussion altogether. I think I discussed it in the first class. Purvasavarna दीर्घेण भवितव्यम्. Okay?
भवितव्यं, परन्तु दीर्घाजसि इति सूत्रेण तस्य निषेधः भवति।
Correct.
हा हा हौ इत्येव तिष्ठति।
Same discussion of Dirghajasi cha versus Nadichi, which we did for Vishwapa, same is applicable over here also. Agree.
तदनन्तरम् आयोगे औ इति वृद्धिरेचि भूत्वा हा हौ इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति।
Correct.
अत्र जस् प्रत्ययस्य बहुवचनस्य इत्संज्ञा भूत्वा अस् इति भवति। अत्र अपि प्रथमयोः पूर्वसवर्णेन निषेधः पूर्वसवर्णेन भवितव्यं, परन्तु निषेधः भवति। तदनन्तरं हाहास् इति अकसवर्णे दीर्घः हाहास् इति भूत्वा ऋत्वविसर्गादेशो भूत्वा हा 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 इति अन्तिमं रूपं सिद्ध्यति। हा हा योगे अम्, अत्र अमिपूर्वः इति अम् प्रत्याहारे अत्र हा हाम् एव भवति। शस् अत्र अपि जस् इव तदेव जस् इव नास्ति, हा क्षम्यतां, जस् इव इत्संज्ञा भूत्वा हाहास् इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति। तदनन्तरं तस्मात् जसो नः पुंसिः इति सूत्रेण सकारस्य नकारादेशः भवति।
तस्मात् शसो न पुंसि, not जसो, तस्मात् छसो और शसो. Okay? Next.
हाहा योगे ठा तृतीया एकवचनम्, अत्र इत्संज्ञा भूत्वा हाहा योगे आ इति भवति। तदनन्तरम् अकसवर्णे दीर्घति हाहा एव रूपं। हाहाभ्यां तु वर्णमेलनं, भिस्सत्रस्य हम्। अत्र इत्संज्ञालोपः, तदनन्तरं हाहा योगे ए इति भवति। वृद्धिसन्धि भूत्वा हाहै इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति। भ्यस् अत्र अपि ऋत्वविदेश विसर्गादेशः भूत्वा हाहाभ्यः। ङसि अत्र इत्संज्ञालोपः अस् इति रूपं भवति। हाहास् इति अकसवर्णे दीर्घः, तदनन्तरं ऋत्वविसर्गादेशः। ङस् अत्र सेम्। ओस् अत्र अपि प्रथमं वृद्धिसन्धि भवति, हा हौस् इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति। तदनन्तरं ऋत्वविसर्गादेशः हा हौः। आम् अत्र पुनः अकसवर्णे दीर्घः, अतः हा हाम् इति अन्तिमं रूपम्। अत्र ङि इत्यत्र गुणसन्धिः भवति। आकार इकारयोगे ए इति गुणसन्धिः भवति, अतः हा हे इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति।
Okay, okay. And then this and ta is also Savarna Dirgha is very unique. Here at least you see for Bale, but otherwise it's not a very easy Gunasandhi over here. Anyway, sup.
हाहा सु सुप्रत्ययस्य इत्संज्ञालोपं भूत्वा हाहा सु इति भवति। वर्णमेलनं कृत्वा
इणवर्णः नास्ति, इणको इति नास्ति, अतः अत्र षत्वम्।
अतः हाहा सु इत्येव तिष्ठति।
Very good. So haha is done. You want to do your vanij? Vanij is yours?
Mother.
You want to get it done? Okay, let's go to Dvi and Kati. Let's finish that because it's all easy going. We'll come back to you next week, okay?
Astu Mother.
Okay, धन्यवाद. Neelima ji, if you are there, please raise your hand. Namaste. I think you have a better. नमस्ते.
नमस्ते महोदय.
हाँ.
इकारान्त पुल्लिङ्गः नित्य बहुवचनान्तः संख्या संज्ञकः कति शब्दः व्युत्पत्तिः का संख्या परिमाणम् अस्य किं योग डति प्रत्ययः विशेषः अस्य शब्दस्य त्रिषु अपि लिङ्गेषु समानानि रूपाणि भवन्ति. बहुवचनान्तः अस्ति अतः सु सम्बुद्धि औ इत्यादि रूपं न भवति. जस् कति योगजस् द्वितीय बहुवचनस्य विवक्षायां जस् प्रत्ययः सुप्तिङन्तं पदम् इति पत्संज्ञा. कति योग अस् इत्संज्ञा तथा विभक्तौ तुस्मा इति इत्संज्ञा न हलन्त सकारस्य इत्संज्ञा भवति किन्तु न विभक्तौ तुस्माः इत्यनेन निषेधः भवति. तथा च लशक्व तद्धिते इत्यनेन शकारस्य इत्संज्ञा तथा लोपः.
There is no shakara just. There is no shakara just over here. Shutu ityanena.
आम्.
Shutu, huh?
Shutu.
That's okay.
Shutu. Yes, Shutu.
That's okay.
तदनन्तरम् आमां कति योग अस् कति शब्दस्य संज्ञा भवति 123 बहुगण वतुडति संख्या इत्यनेन कति शब्दस्य डति प्रत्ययः अस्ति अथ संख्या संज्ञकः. तदनन्तरं कति योग अस् 125 डति च इति डति प्रत्ययान्तः कति इत्यस्य षट् संज्ञा भवति. षट् संज्ञकः भवति. तदनन्तरं षट् संज्ञकः. तदनन्तरं 7 षड्भ्यो लुक् इत्यनेन जस् प्रत्ययस्य लुक् भूत्वा कति इति रूपं भवति. अन्तिमं रूपं कति सुप्तिङन्तं पदम्.
So just is removed, therefore you get kati over here. One question that I have, not necessarily to anybody, is षड्भ्यो लुक इत्यस्य स्थाने षड्भ्यो लोपः इति सूत्रं भवति चेत् कः दोषः? षड्भ्यो लोपः. सुधावल्ली जी.
अत्र अङ्गस्य कार्यं
Give an example. What कार्य will happen?
नलुमताङ्गस्य इति सूत्रेण अङ्गस्य कार्यं न भवति.
Correct. I understand what you are saying. What I am asking is षड्भ्यो लोपः इति सूत्रं भवेत् चेत् कः दोषः? What will be the problem? Whenever we say doshah, you have to give a wrong form that might be generated. You understand what I'm saying? That's okay. I mean, we can ask others also. It's not a race. Anybody who wants to answer, raise your hands. Umaji.
नमस्कारः महोदय. जसि च इत्यनेन गुणकार्यं भवति.
These are the basic things that are very good. The basic things that you understand. That what you mentioned earlier was correct, that the nalumatangasya will block anga karyam when you have the luka. But when you have lopa, nalumatangasya will not block the anga karyam. Means what? Some anga karya will happen. What anga karya? That's the answer given right now. Jasicha will cause an anga karya, guna will happen. So in pullinga, jasicha will cause a guna. In strilinga, jasicha will cause a guna. In napumsakalinga, there might be napumsakasya jhalachaha causing the numagama. So something or the other problematic thing will happen, and therefore the sutram is shadbhyo luka and not shadbhyo lopaha. Any questions from anybody? Please raise a hand. If not, we will go ahead. Shas pratyaya. Same prakriya. There is absolutely nothing. So shadbhyo luka iti. Here you have to write shas. Copy paste.
Just typing mistake.
That's okay. Copy paste. That's okay. So, so that shas is done. Now next is bis. Nothing is there, but you just read it.
कति योगभिस् तृतीया बहुवचनस्य विवक्षायां भिस् इति प्रत्ययः इत्संज्ञा लोपं भूत्वा सका न विभक्तौ तुस्मा इति लोपः न भवति तथा तत् अस्तु हा कति योगभिस् इति पदम् इति भवति तदनन्तरं ऋत्वं तथा विसर्गऋतो कृत्वा कतिभिः इति सुप्तिङन्तं पदम् इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति
कतिभ्यः सेम् लेट्स् टॉक अबाउट कतीनाम्
कतीनाम् आम् अत्र षष्ठी बहुवचन विवक्षायाम् आम् इति प्रत्ययः कति योग आम् अत्रापि बहुगणवतुडति संख्या इति डति प्रत्ययान्त शब्दस्य संख्यासंज्ञकः तदनन्तरं 1125 डति च इति डति प्रत्ययान्तः कति इति संख्यासंज्ञकः शब्दः षट्संज्ञकः भवति तदनन्तरं षट्
करेक्ट सॉरी
तदनन्तरं कति योग नुट् आम् 7155 षट् चतुर्भ्यश्च इति षट् संज्ञकात् अङ्गात् आम् प्रत्ययस्य नुट् आगमः भवति नुट् इति टित् आगमः अतः आद्यन्तौ टकितौ इति आद्यावयवः कति योग तदनन्तरम् इत्संज्ञा लोपः कृत्वा कति योगनां तदनन्तरं 643 नामि इति नाम प्रत्यये परे अजन्त अङ्गस्य दीर्घादेशः भवति कतीनाम्
इति अन्तिमं रूपं सिद्ध्यति why do we apply षट् चतुर्भ्यश्च over here why not ह्रस्वनद्यापो नुट ह्रस्वान्तम् अस्ति ह्रस्वनद्यापो नुट इति नुडागमः किमर्थं न एनीबडी
षट् संज्ञकः अस्ति महोदय
सो व्हाट इट इज षट् संज्ञकः अस्ति अतः षट् चतुर्भ्यश्च इत्यस्य प्रयोगः भवितुम् अर्हति आई एम नॉट ब्लॉकिंग दैट आई एम सेइंग ह्रस्वनद्यापो नुट इत्यनेन अपि नुडागमः भवितुम् अर्हति उत न अर्हति ह्रस्वान्तम् अस्ति व्हाट इज द सूत्रम ह्रस्वनद्यापो नुट डूइंग यू अंडरस्टैंड द क्वेश्चन राइट ह्रस्वनद्यापो नुट सेज ह्रस्वन्तात् and forget about nadi and abanta ह्रस्वन्तात् परस्य आम प्रत्ययस्य नुटागमः भवति so ह्रस्वन्तात् परस्य आम प्रत्ययस्य नुटागमः भवति श्रीनिवास महोदय that's okay श्रीनिवास महोदय
ह्रस्वद्यापो नुट इति 7154 54 एतत् 55 अस्ति
कट टू कट 7154 ह्रस्वनद्यापो नुट 7155 षट् चतुर्भ्यश्च like सुपीच and बहुवचने झल्येत कट टू कट so you have ह्रस्वनद्यापो नुट and षट् चतुर्भ्यश्च as next to each other so you have to use by paratva correct सुप
कति योगसुप सप्तमी बहुवचनस्य विवक्षायां सुप इति प्रत्ययः कति योगसु इत्संज्ञा लोपः तदनन्तरं कति योगषु आदेश प्रत्ययोः प्रत्यय अवयवस्य सकारस्य शकारादेशः
इणकोः now you have ind letter eventually I was wanting that for so long finally you have ind letter so इणकोः इति अधिकारे आदेश प्रत्ययति शत्वे कृते कतिषु इति भवति
कतिषु
okay kati is nitya bahuvachananta so you never say kati janah you say kati janaah how many people even if the answer is ekah janah still you say kati janaah next dvi shabda I think there is nothing we discussed entire word in the pumsakalinga same thing happens in pullinga you speak in like one minute just speak the important sutras forget about everything else so in au and out what is the most important sutram this one त्यदादीनामः look at on screen त्यदादीनामः इत्यनेन अकारादेशः भवति द्वि तत्र इकारस्य अकारादेशः भवति this is not dva a full this is dva half plus a so it is actually dva that's all द्वि plus au इत्यत्र इकारस्य अकारादेशः so what is happening dva half is there and ikara is there that ikara is getting converted to akara. So again, half dva plus a becomes full dva. So there is no dva a. You get the typing mistake over here?
No, sir. I type dva eva.
That's not
It is
correct. Is
not
what I'm saying.
it
It
is
is
my
dua half
misunderstanding.
plus that's okay. I think this was a mistake on the slide deck.
No, not
No, it was
typing
there.
mistake.
I think I fixed it in the class or maybe after the class. I also had this typing mistake. So dvi ityatra dv plus e इत्यस्य स्थाने इकारस्य स्थाने अकारः. So dv iti bhavati, not dva a. It's just dva plus au and dvau. The prakriya is same. We discussed it in case of napumsaka. So dvi, dvabhyam, same thing. Dvayoho, same thing. Okay. There's no point in discussing the same thing.
Kshamyatam Mahoday.
No, that's okay.
My misunderstanding.
No, that's okay. It's okay. We are all learning over here, so that's not a problem.
Yes,
These classes are probably more valuable than just one-way classes where I keep on teaching. So we should have this more frequently.
Yes.
Anyway,
yes.
so we did.
I will never forget this point.
Yeah, that's okay. No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we completed Rajan, Vishwapa, Gopa, Dvi, Haha, Dvi, and Kati. I think we are out of time. We will stop. Good progress as compared to yesterday. In the next week, we will start with Sadhu and Prasham. Again on the group, I'll ask the preferences. Whosoever are available, we will have them in the class presenting next week. This way, we are going to finish all the 70 words and then we are going to go to the next module of our course. Any last minute questions? If not, we will end the session. Ratnakarji.
Sorry, one thing, if I look at it, if the level play is the same, like when two sutras come in contact at one place, the rest others being the same, so it is always the Parasutra that is, Parasutra takes place or takes over the operation. Is that so?
When the Vipratishedha is there. What is a Vipratishedha? Vipratishedha means that you have one, let me go to other slide, this blue color might not be visible. When you have one sutra's domain and other sutra's domain partially overlapping. So you need first sutra to operate independently somewhere at XYZ and other sutram to operate somewhere else at PQR place. And then there is, in certain case, there is an overlap. So for example, if you take Rasvanadhyapo Nutta, Rasvanadhyapo Nutta is applicable for Bala. Shat Chaturbhyascha is applicable for, say, Shat Samyaka words like Panchan and so on, confirming. So Panchan and so on. So Rasvanadhyapo Nutta is not applicable for Panchan and Shat Chaturbhyascha is not applicable for Bala. So you have two distinct examples and now there is an overlap for Kati. So that is the place where Parasutra will take precedence. Clear?
Okay. Yeah. In fact, yesterday I was looking at Akaha Savarna Dirgha, Pradabaya Purva Savarna. Like that I was looking at. So at one place I was stuck like. Then when I looked at the Sutra numbers, it is, I think, no, even
101 and 102, that very close. So there's a classic example that you should look at if you have not looked at is Supicha and Bahuvachane Jhalyet. Look at this. We have studied this in the class. These are the two classic examples, Supicha and Bahuvachane Jhalyet. Okay.
Supicha is Dirgha inducing sutram, no?
Correct. And Bahuvachane Jhalyet is Ekara inducing sutram. So for cases like Bhya, Rama plus Bhya, Supicha will induce a Dirgha and Bhyas being Bahuvachana will induce an Ekara. And then Ekara will take precedence. Clear? Okay.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
No worries. Samapayama. There is a question over here. When will be the tentative time to start the next module? It depends on how fast or slow we go. But practically, I don't think we will be able to start it anytime in November or December. So maybe we'll start the next module in the new year. I am thinking maybe we probably need 6 or 8 more classes for finishing all the words. I'm going to continue taking classes till the 70 words are over, and then maybe I will give an end break till year end or break till 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then in January we will start the next module. Next module is very interesting, lots of theory, Stri and Karaka Prakaranam, very interesting stuff. No Prakriya, zero Prakriya, so it will give you some break, relief from what we are doing currently. If there are no questions, Samapayamaha. So after Pongal, somebody is saying, we'll see. I don't know how many days this thing is going to continue. After that, we will take a call. I'll give some break before we start the next one. Samapayamaha. अष्टाध्यायी जगन्माता यस्य चित्तात् समुत्थिता वेदानामुपकाराय तस्मै पाणिनये नमः शब्द ब्रह्म समाराध्य कृतवान्यो विलक्षणं सर्वाश्चर्यमिदं शास्त्रं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः येन धौतागिरः पुंसां विमलैः शब्दवारिभिः तमश्चाज्ञानजं भिन्नं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। धन्यवादः।